morning, Nova Scotia. Here we are into the second hour of the show this morning. I'm Rick Howe with you one last time. We're together until 1 o'clock this afternoon, and got a couple of guests standing by. We'll talk with them in just a moment. And Todd Vino is with me here this morning, and Todd's going to be, of course, in the chair as of Tuesday morning, doing the Todd Vino Show. And any changes at all?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we'll make any changes or not.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the things that you've done have been excellent, obviously. Counselors on the Hot Seat, I think, is a great segment.
Yeah, I agree.
People love that. Rob Thacker, Gillis. I think we'll probably keep those staples.
One of the things I really especially liked about the show were the open hours.
Oh, God,
when I first started doing those over at CJ, I was criticized by some saying, "What are you doing here? You're just, opening up to fools and everything." But my point being at the time, my argument was that, didn't matter who they were. They had an opinion to offer, and we're a talk radio station, so, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And I did, and it turned out to be, again, I think another huge success. And one of my favorite parts of the show each and every day was the banter I'd have with people like this fellow here. Bert, good morning to you.
Hey, Rick, thanks for taking my call, right?
Well, thanks for calling. Bert and I have clashed over the years.
Oh, yeah, so have Bert and I.
When I heard you were not feeling well and we're leaving the show for a while, I honestly, I'm telling you the truth, it actually brought a tear to my eye. I grew up with you on the radio when, I'd go to the Chicken Burger and Sunnyside, and you were similar ages. And we both did the same thing, and I listened to you so long on the radio. My mother listened to you, and my brothers listened to me. I mean, I got a brother who works at Dell, and he sits in his little room and listens to you, and instead of working, right? I said to him, "Don't you have a boss?" He said, "Well, I am the boss."
There you go. There you go. Thanks for listening.
But Rick, I don't mean to sound too soft or anything, but you are an icon in this city, in this province, and your wife, you have a beautiful wife, and your family, and look, I wish you so much goodwill in the future. We've battled. Sometimes, I have to pass on a little secret, right?
Yep.
My calls sometimes were meant to irritate you.
Well, I don't doubt that. And you're often successful at doing that.
That's no secret.
Oh, I remember one show, and it was maybe 10 years ago, and you had to say online, you said, "Oh, my God, after talking to Bert, I have to take 2 Tylenol. My nerves are going." And I thought that was great. But the point being is, Rick, there's going to be something missing. Todd's a great guy. I've got no problem with Todd. He's great. But it's just the things you did for the community. Like, you may not realize it, how many people you helped in this community by the people you took online. And then afterwards, you said, call after the show, and I'll see what I can do to help you. You're quite a guy, and something tells me you're going to get awards.
Well,
no.
I'm not here, Bert, and I do have to run under the collars.
I understand.
And I'm not looking for awards. I had a job to do, a job that I love to do, and I just did it the best that I could each and every day. And that was the secret of my success. It's just, hard work and putting your nose to the grindstone, so to speak. And I do appreciate your call here this morning, Bert. And I must say, though, I think you hold the record as the one caller I hung up on the most times over the course of the year.
Absolutely.
Bert?
Absolutely. Can I say one more thing,
Be
Rick?
quick, Bert.
Do it
Be
one
quick.
more time. Hang up on him one more time.
Every storm, every snowstorm, every hurricane, everything that happened in this city that wasn't good, you were always at work. How did you accomplish that? I always wondered. I turned the radio on and be a big blizzard, and you'd be on the radio.
Well, it's just
congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, Bert.
You're the best.
Appreciate the call. Take care. Thank you. Bert was one of a kind.
Yeah, it was all season tires is how Rick got in here every day.
Not every day. 2 of my favorite guests over the course of the many years that we did this show. Well, first off, I'd say the segment itself was one of the more popular segments of the show. Every Monday, we had what we called Science Files. This was Richard Zorowski's creation initially, and Richard did co-hosted Science Files with me for several years, and then he moved on, and Rob Thacker picked up where Richard left off, and both of them joined me here this morning on the phone for a few minutes. Okay, what's going on here? Hang up there. Let's go. Oops. Hi, Rob, you there?
I'm here, Rick. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. Rob Thacker, of course, St. Mary's University astrophysicist. Bear with me for a sec here, Rob. I'm going to try and get Richard on, but it's not working. Vanessa,
are you locking? Did you lock him in?
No, I locked Rob in, but I can't get Richard's line to open there. Vanessa, I can't get Richard. Vanessa, I can't get Richard on the air. Can you press that down for me and get him on here? Try that. If not, call him back on another phone, would you?
This isn't deliberate, is it, Rick?
I don't know. Hang on a sec. Vanessa's trying to... there. No, hang on. You go ahead, Todd. You press that. See? Nothing happens. Wait, you don't trust me or what?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. We're not able to get a hold of Richard there. All right, let's talk to Rob and Vanessa. Try and, if you can't get Richard on, try another number. Okay, get him on another line. Rob Thacker, good morning, sir.
Hey, Rick. Technical problems. I know what that feels like very well.
Yeah.
Done a few shows myself.
It happens. I won't say on a regular basis, but when it happens, it scares the bejesus out of me because I think we got Richard here. Just hang on a second, Richard.
Sure. Hi, Rick. How are you?
I am well, sir. All right, the two brainiacs with us here on the show this morning, and again, Science Files, Richard, was your creation. What did you try to accomplish? What was the point of Science Files?
Well, it was always science has been something that we've been trying to promote, and with the all news talk show format, it exploded. I made the proposal to say, why don't we do some of this? And it started out as a 15-minute segment, and then it went to a half hour, and before we knew it, it became a regular segment. And for a while, we also had the Science Files on the weekends when we were broadcasting with 95.7. So the whole idea was just to engage. And what I'm finding is, what we found was that people love to talk science. They love to kibitz about it, bring in their opinions. And I think that was the strength of the whole thing. And, everybody that participated in it had a great time. You and I, if I remember correctly, didn't always agree.
No.
I may be getting out on a limb here.
No, I don't think so. Especially when it came to me and my desire to have a gas-guzzling four-stroke kind of car and give you, palpitations in the heart. Often you'd be holding on to your heart during our conversations. But
chest pains again. These memories are not good, Rick.
Rob, tell me about, again, you come in every Monday. It's a volunteering basis here. Why do you think Science Files was so successful and it continues to be?
Well, it's fun. You cannot escape science in your daily life. Even if you think you are, there are things that are happening all around you. I'm sitting at a desk right now, and I'm surrounded by things that are science. My computer, my phone, all of that. The thing that I wanted to say to you, Rick, was over the 40 years you've been broadcasting, all of the changes that we've seen in science are just phenomenal, although I'm going to joke we're still trying to get back to the moon. But anyway.
But you're right. The last number of years have just been simply outstanding in regards to how society has evolved, how technology has evolved. Almost scary at times how fast things are turning. And Richard, we've yet to see basically the tip of things, aren't we?
Well, everything is progressing so quickly. We've got AI coming. Rob's discipline of astrophysics is just exploding, looking for life on other worlds, looking for to explain the universe in general. We have so many questions about it, and every time we answer or get information about one question, it becomes the Hydra with 7 more questions. And, of course, that has been the joy, is to be able to share that. And what I came to realize that it's not about answering the questions, it's actually about posing the questions. And that's what the strength of the Science Files was. Like, we answered a lot of questions, but we also posed a lot of questions. And that created the engagement, different opinions, different points of view. And it was wonderful to see a like-minded scientist in Rob Thacker who was just willing to jump in, and I left for political fields. And I might add that I'm in the political thick of things again.
Don't give up, do you, Richard? Don't give up, do you?
Got to give himself a plug.
I learned something from you.
Rob, and again, are you surprised at how popular the segment was? I know that people. You've told us a story about you've been out and about for a walk with your wife or something like that, and come across an individual who suddenly recognizes, I know your voice. Are you surprised at that at all?
Yeah. I mean, that actually, when I first moved, that actually happened in a different way. That there was a little newspaper store, and I was on the front of the newspaper, and the person was just reading it. I said, "Oh yeah, hi, I'm your new neighbor," and that's me on the cover there. That was pretty funny. But I think the thing that Richard has touched on is that what I love is the fact that there are so many simple things that people will be prepared to call in about that they hadn't thought about, and they were like, "Oh, why is that?" And the one that really sticks in my head was the person who called in about, why does the water in my toilet bowl move when it's windy, right? And just questions like that, which we knew the answer for, of course. It's because you have a vent that goes up to the roof to let all of the gases that come from poop and things like that actually get out of the system. And different wind blowing over that will make all of the pressure change, which makes the water go up and down as well.
Yeah.
But those kind of questions, I just love answering. And when I don't know, I'm going to say, I don't know. You need to talk to so-and-so. We need to know this. We need to know that. And I think people appreciate that as well.
I think they did. And I want to say to the both of you, Richard and Rob, thank you very much Richard, for creating this program, this segment that turned out to be so popular and giving us many years of your thoughts and your opinions, and Rob picking up the slack when Richard left us. You both did and do an amazing job. And I want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart for, again, teaching us about science, because sometimes some of these questions go right over my head. And I'd look at Rob and Richard when they were in the studio, and they knew that I was, I was a little out of my league at the time, but you were kind and you were patient, and you explained it so that everybody understood, including me. And for that, again, I want to thank you both. Rob Thacker, Richard Zarowski, appreciate it, both of you.
Thanks, Rick, so much. Take care, man.
How privileged I was to work with you. Thank you and all the best, and stay well.
Thank you, Richard. Much appreciated. Thank you, Rob. Take care, bud.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Rob Thacker and Richard Zarowski and Vanessa. Whoops. Hang up here. I can't hang up on Richard now, so you'll have to do that, please. 11:20 is the time. Thanks, Richard. Technology, huh?
He won't go away. He won't go away.
Yeah, so I did want to ever hang and now I had the opportunity and couldn't. 11:20. We're back with more right after this. 11:23. I'm having so much fun here, Todd. Maybe we could extend it by an hour, 2 or 3 or 4. What do you think?
Talk to Dan Alstrand about that.
Do we have to?
Yeah, you'd have to. He's the boss.
He is. And he's a pretty good boss.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, not bad. I've had worse. Much worse. Much worse. Here's a fellow who used to work with me over at the old radio station, CJCH. In fact, Chris Mills, the last voice you heard, I believe, on CJ before they made the switch to what they are today. Chris, good morning to you, sir.
Rick, my old boss. Not that you're old.
Well, I am, and I forgot that I was your boss, wasn't I? Because we were down at that time. It really didn't feel like a unit that needed to be bossed, because there's only about 3 of us, you, me, and Deb, I think, and that was it in those last days. And I remember that you and Deb kind of, after they pulled the hotline, that you and Deb kind of handled things for. How long was that, you guys together there? For a week or more, or just a couple of days?
It was for a couple of weeks, and then May the whatever it was in 2008, we signed off, and there was a new chapter in the life of CJCH. But Rick, I'm at work right now, and I don't have a lot of time, but I had to talk to you. I wanted to thank you for the most amazing radio experience, learning so much in a short time, pinch hitting, filling in for Doug after Doug left. It was such an amazing experience. You were a great teacher. You were a kind of a laissez-faire and yet don't mess up kind of guy. And it was just such a great combination, and I learned so much. It was just amazing. And it's because of you that I'm now not working in radio anymore.
Well, I'm glad it could be a service. And in regards to how I handled the job as news director, I was news director there for some 20 years. And I wasn't what you'd call someone who stood over people with a whip. As long as you were doing, a good job, I was fine. And everybody who worked there, And in fact, everybody who works here, I want to acknowledge that as well here. We have a great team here. We had a great team over at CJCH over the years. We won many awards, including some national awards. We continue to do so here over at News 95.7. And, it was... Those were good times, Chris, and you were part of that. And it was, I think, in the middle of a Calgary, the Stampeders song, I believe, "Sweet City Woman," wasn't it? When they pulled the plug. And
it was the very middle of "Sweet City Woman." Yeah. It was about 1 minute past 10 o'clock or so in the morning, 9:59, 10:01. I still have the logger tape from that at home, or a copy of that. I think of those days fondly, and I want to thank you finally, before I go, for calling me Mr. Wonderful one day. We had a very kind, complimentary letter from a gentleman about my news reading, and you said something to the effect of, "Who writes this stuff?" And here comes Mr. Wonderful. He can get his big head through the studio door with your news at 10 o'clock. So thank you for that, Rick.
Not a problem. And I should point out that Chris is very much, I'm pretty sure you're still active in preserving the lighthouses around at Nova Scotia.
Still doing lighthouse stuff, and still doing radio stuff for community radio. You can't get it out of your blood.
That's true. It's true. But I'm going to try hard after 1 o'clock here this afternoon. Chris, thanks very much.
Rick, all the best to you and to Yvonne, and thanks for talking with me. It's a treat to hear your voice again, and I wish you all the very best.
Thanks, Chris. Much appreciated. Take care, bud. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Let's get Brady on before we take another break. Hey, Brady.
Good morning, Rick.
How are you today, sir?
Not too bad. It's been a while since I was on. I was busy helping a friend with an election campaign, and that brings me to one of the most memorable times that I talked with you on the radio, the day we talked about air quality at Province House.
I remember that, yes, indeed, and we had many good conversations over the years, Brady.
Yes, Rick, no, I enjoyed it, and sort of big thanks to you. I got a little following here locally. They listened to the show hoping I'd be on, and were kind of disappointed the last weeks. But listen, want to wish you well in retirement, and on a final note, the air quality in Province House sure improved August 17th, in my opinion.
All right. Thanks, Brady. Appreciate the call, buddy. Heather writes an email here. It says, only Rick Howe could get a young undergraduate student interested in listening to the news on the radio. Rick, I've been listening to your show for more than a decade. When I was a psychology intern, I had a lot of commute time getting to various schools around HRM. Was always thrilled to have a chance to be on the road with you. My husband and I have also enjoyed your perfect blend of enthusiasm, thought-provoking attitude, and just the right amount of sass.
I don't know about perfect.
I like that.
That's pushing it a little bit, Rick.
The right amount of sass, though. I like that.
Yeah, no, but the perfect blend?
Okay.
I don't know. That's a little much.
One listener's opinion. I respect their opinions. But I like that, the right amount of sass.
There you go. I've described you many ways, but not sass necessarily. Take away one of those letters.
Hold it now. 11:28, back with more right after this. All right, welcome back. 33 minutes past the hour here on a Friday morning. The final show, The Rick Howe Show, and I'm Rick Howe, and we're together until 1 o'clock here this afternoon. I want to read you an email that Susan sent in here, Todd. She writes, your show's been a great platform to educate the population about so many issues that television news just doesn't have the ability to do in depth. Totally enlightened me. I also really enjoyed the face-off segments between you and Todd. I would have a good laugh when you would so proudly proclaim you had won, when Todd clearly was the winner most of the time. LOL, writes Susan, who writes as well. She's always outraged.
Yeah.
She thinks you won all the time.
Well, those were great segments, though, Rick.
They were.
You and I went at it pretty good.
Yeah.
And people often thought that we didn't like each other. Can you imagine that?
No, I mean, at times we were heated.
Yes.
But at the end of the half hour,
we'd have a laugh.
Yeah,
it was over.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. So, but I, Susan, I'll have to beg to differ. Because clearly I was the winner most of the time. Let's go to the phones here and welcome another fellow who's been a guest on this show for years. In fact, I think he produces or provides a very special service to many Nova Scotians. As you know, a lot of people in this province do not have access to family doctors. And every Wednesday morning, Dr. John Gillis would drop by the studio or on the phone, and he would take the time to answer your specific medical questions. So sometimes difficult questions indeed, and sometimes, he couldn't really answer the question because, it bordered on, perhaps really medical news that you just don't want to discuss in public kind of thing. Here's Dr. John Gillis, and he joins me on the phone here this morning. Dr. Gillis, good morning to you, and thank you again. I think you provided an essential service for a lot of Nova Scotians, and I think that was the success of the hour when you came in on Wednesdays, was the fact that so many Nova Scotians do not have a family doctor, or even if they do, don't have full access to that family doctor to answer their questions. And you are always available on Wednesdays, and I want to thank you very much for that, sir.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, and I learn a lot from it too. It keeps me up on things that I normally wouldn't talk about or think about, and provoking a conversation about very many things that are related to healthcare, and sometimes not related to healthcare.
Yep.
Sometimes we find the odd tangent, but it's always been fun to talk about it, and doing it from literally all over the world. Sometimes on a crappy cell phone, sometimes on the internet, but we made it work.
You did. There were times when some of the callers, it was just so sad to hear their plight and their concern and their unhappiness with how they've been treated by the healthcare system. It was an emotional hour as well, as well as being an informative hour. It was hard at times just to keep your emotions in check as you listen to some of these stories.
Yeah, absolutely. It's grounding in that regard, and that you realize that people are out there struggling, and all of us, I think in the healthcare system do our best, and every day try to make the best impact we can. But there are people that are not getting what they need, and there are sad things that happen to families, and very much it's grounding, and really empathize with folks out there, and continuing to have these conversations is important.
Yeah, we should point out that Dr. Gillis continues with Todd each Wednesday morning. You've got some political connections as well, Dr. Gillis, former president of the Nova Scotia Liberal Party, your father a cabinet minister back in the day. Do you get a chance to sound off politically to government in your capacity as a medical doctor? Do they listen to what you have to say?
Yeah, it's whether or not formally president of the party anymore or not, I guess it's in the blood.
Yep.
Engage and help on policy matters, and I've I've done that for years. I've always said as much as possible. I am a partisan. There's no hiding that, but I've always tried to talk about health in the most nonpartisan way I can. Had a chance to talk to some of Premier Dexter's people back in the day, to some of Premier McDonald's people, and I've said if there's anything I can do to help the new government, Premier Houston's government, at the end of the day, we need to continue to work on our health system and try and improve things. So it's, we do need voices out there that are in the field, and there are, a lot of great medical people out there that are, sharing their stories and their ideas, and, on how we can make things better. And we need to continue to have those conversations, because, at the end of the day, people's health is, a basic right, a basic need, and it, as much as possible, shouldn't get caught up in politics, but it does.
It does indeed. And we've got a new government now that focused during the campaign on health care and basically promising to fix it. Not going to be an easy task, is it?
No, it's not. And, politically, they identified where a lot of people's heads were, and they have a big task ahead of them. And, it would be rude and inappropriate not to wish, the new Premier well, the new health minister, who's from my hometown, Antigonish. I know the Thompson family well, although I don't know Michelle. To wish Minister Thompson well in her work and the new work that's being done at the Health Authority. It's a big task, and I personally wish them well.
And we want to wish you well as well here this morning, and thank you again for making yourself available and pointing out as well, like Blair and some of the others we've talked to, that this is a volunteer thing, that you do this on your own time because you have concern about Nova Scotians and their health. And again, I just want to thank you, John, for making yourself available every Wednesday and being able to answer the kind of questions that you're being asked. And you provide a great service, and hope that continues for the foreseeable future. Thank you, sir.
Well, I appreciate that. I want to join others in thanking you for leading important and powerful conversations for so long, and for challenging me. You and I didn't get into it too much, but every now and again we had a little disagreement. But if you don't push the envelope But what I've always appreciated about you, Rick, is that you'll push a topic, you'll push the envelope without devolving into the shock jock extremism. Let's say things just to be ridiculous type of thing. You always attacked an issue, saw both sides of it, would take on people with extreme views and ask them to dial it back to truly facilitate a conversation. And I think we're all going to miss that.
I appreciate that, John. And you have, again, continuing success on this radio show and in your practice. And thank you, as always, for what you've done here. Thanks, John. Have a great day, sir.
My friend. All the best.
All the best. Bye-bye. Dr. John Gillis. And Todd, again, I think the waiting list for people without a doctor
72,000.
72,000, yeah. And growing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to, Tim Houston said that healthcare is going to be his number one priority.
I think what he did with the Nova Scotia Health Authority and firing the CEO and the board was a good move. I think
agree.
It was a good move.
The Nova Scotia Health Authority has just been, in my mind, just a concrete monstrosity.
Yep, absolutely.
A hive of bureaucrats.
An ivory tower.
So that's an important part of shaking up the healthcare system. But again, it's not going to be an easy task.
No,
not at all. All right, let's go back to the phones and let's say hello to Lil McPherson, the Wooden Monkey owner and former mayoral candidate in HRM, and a woman who is very much in tune with the environmental crisis facing this earth and who has shared some of her opinions with us over the years. Lil, how are you doing? Good to hear from you.
Oh, I'm doing really good, Rick, and it's I've got a few lumps in my throat listening to this last show. I'm really going to miss you, and the socks. I'm really happy for you, but we're all going to miss you so much. It's a hard show to listen to.
It is, because it deals with difficult issues, and we never shied away from any of the issues, no matter how difficult they were. And as well, Lil, we have people who don't believe in climate change, and you have been on the receiving end of some of their vitriol, but you have stood by your ground, and you have again shared with us on many occasions your thoughts. And you're pleased for people to recognize that climate change is a real thing, and we've got to do something about this planet of ours.
Oh, for sure. And I just want to thank you for all the time you had me on there, and I can't tell you how many people some of you would say, "Oh, I heard you on the Rick Howe show," and so you really did give me a voice. As scared as I was to step out, but you were just so kind and sweet. And I don't know, you were just amazing. And I just remember you helped me with the whole biosalt thing. Remember we went through that that whole. And I got Ellen at the time, but now Elliot. But we got her pulled over in the car, and I said, "You got to call him to Rick Howe." And she was like, "Well," I said, "No, he's going to be great." She was nervous about what would happen there, and you were fantastic. And it's just I'm really happy that you're retiring, and I wish all the best to your health for sure. And you'll be in my prayers. And just a sad day. I'm gonna have to cut off short too, because I'm gonna. It's really sad to hear you go, but
I appreciate.
I love you, Rick, to death. We all love you, and you're going to be really, really missed. So,
well, thanks for that, Lil, and again, appreciate the kind words, and keep up the good work, Lil McPherson. Keep it up.
Okay, Rick, I will. Thanks so much.
And if
Rick.
Todd Vino gives you a hard time, you just tell him Rick Howe said to let me on the air. You hear me?
Listen, Todd, we're going to go for it.
All right, let's do it. That sounds good to me.
Thanks, Lil. All the best.
Thanks so much. Okay, great. Okay, great.
Bye-bye. She called me sweet. Did you hear that?
Again, another sweet?
I'm sweet.
Come on,
I'm
Rick.
kind.
Yeah, I know. You're just sass.
I like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Sass. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. We'll take some more calls in a few moments. It's 11:43 right now. We're back with more right after this. 11:46. We're having fun here, aren't we, Todd?
We are having a blast, Rick. Always a good time.
And I see you making copious notes. So
I'm making notes. That's right. I've got all kinds of notes. I'm going to sell them online.
You lie. You don't have any notes.
I do. I'm taking it on my phone here.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Peter Halpin, good morning.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing well, Peter. I was just telling Todd during the break about our basketball story, the one that you haven't yet forgiven me for.
How did you know I was going to raise that?
Well, I just thought I had a sneaky suspicion that you might say something along those lines. To make a long story short, Peter was the coach of the Bantam team, the Canadian Martyrs.
Mini.
Okay, Mini. Was that a mini team that we played? Anyway, I was the coach of the mini team, and we met one day at the gym at Lockview, I believe it was, in Fall River, and our guys kept running up the score. It was a one-sided game, and I would tell our guys that would call timeout, and I say, listen, I say, pass the ball 5 times before you shoot, or only shoot from long range. Well, they did that, but then they kept scoring points, and we ended up smoking you big time. And he came to me after the game and, in jest, sort of, accused me of running up the score. And I pleaded. I said, no, it wasn't me. It was just, our guys got carried away with the fact that everything that they tried was going in. But you never forgiven me for that, have you?
Well, Rick, I went into the gym that day thinking I was pretty smart and knew my way around the basketball court, and you thoroughly outcoached me and thoroughly outplayed our kids. But, I give full credit to you, and your son was a real stud, David.
Yeah, he was a great basketball player.
He was a very good basketball player.
4 good years.
At any rate, look, Rick, I just want to join everyone else in congratulating you on a great career in broadcasting, and it was wonderful to hear also from another, I don't want to call him an old broadcaster, but our friend A.J. Walling this morning. And I think I join many others who miss people like A.J., and we're going to miss you as well. And I really, in my capacity working for the Association of Atlantic Universities, I'm really going to miss our conversations. You always took a great interest in our sector, and you always were a very fair and interested interviewer, so I appreciate that very much, as is your sidekick, Todd Vino.
Yeah, Todd.
I like being a sidekick.
He'll do quite well if he only takes some
pointers. Takes more notes.
Here.
I'm taking notes.
Peter, listen.
With some coaching from you, he should be okay.
He should be. Listen, Peter, I appreciate you making yourself available whenever I talked or whenever I called, and we had some interesting discussions about universities here in this region and how important they are to the region, and I want to thank you for that. Appreciate that, sir, and thanks very much, Peter.
Well, my pleasure, Rick, and I've always enjoyed our friendship, and lots of basketball down Liverpool way, so
I'll check it
don't
out.
Be a stranger in the gyms down there.
All right, bud, take care. Have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Thanks.
Bye for now, Rick.
Peter Halpin with the Association of Atlantic Universities. Here's a fellow that, last time I talked to him, he was just an opposition leader. Now he's the freaking premier of this province. Tim Houston, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Are you as surprised as I am?
No, actually, I had predicted a Tory win. Todd, is that true?
No, you did not.
I did so.
No, actually, you did. Rick was one of the first voices that night to predict that. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Very, very well. Well, I'm honored. And Rick, I just want to say we'll miss you for sure. You've outraged me many times over the years, and I'll miss that going forward. But broadcast will be a lesser place without you, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that, Tim, and I know as opposition leader you made yourself available whenever I asked. I hope you continue that as the Premier of Nova Scotia, because I think it's important that people hear from their leader, the decisions you have to make, and some tough decisions lie ahead, without a doubt, and you know that. I hope that you'll inform people about the decisions that you're making. It may give them an explanation, and I think if that's what you do, then you'll have the people supporting whatever you do to try to fix this healthcare system of ours, because it certainly needs a fix-up. That's for sure.
I really appreciate that. That's good advice, and that's certainly my intention. And I'm sure there's a few that will give me my lumps if I try to do anything otherwise. But certainly we want to be accessible. We want to be just frank with Nova Scotians. I mean, that's how we tried to conduct ourselves during the campaign, and Nova Scotians responded to it, and we'll continue to do that. So
good.
So I will certainly accept that advice in the spirit it's meant. Sure.
And Todd will hold you to it, right, Todd?
Indeed, we'll have many chats.
There you go. Thanks, Tim. And again, good luck. You've got 4 years ahead of you, perhaps even into a 5th year, depending on things. But you've got some tough decisions ahead, and good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And same to you, my friend. We'll miss you.
All right. Thanks, Tim. Have a great day.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Rick.
Okay,
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's the Premier of Nova Scotia, the newly elected Premier of Nova Scotia.
I think he's going to do a good job.
I hope he does.
Yeah, I shouldn't say I hope he does, but...
Yeah.
I think that he was the right guy at this time for this job. I really
agree.
do. Yeah.
Vanessa, do we need a break here? Or we've got more time to go, right? Yeah, before we need a break? Yeah, yes, no, maybe so. Just nod your head, break.
No, we're good to the top there.
Okay.
You could have asked me, Rick.
Oh, I could have, but you weren't taking notes, so I just... Let's go to Sandy next here this morning. Hi, Sandy.
Well, good morning, Rick.
I thought that might be you. How are you doing?
Oh, my God. When the music came on this morning, the only thing missing in the house was my little dog that I used to say, "Here's Rick's coming. Let's go listen." Oh my God, can't believe. Anyway, started listening to the show when Steve Murphy was on.
That's right. Steve was the host of the Hotline back in the early '80s, basically.
Don't say it, Rick. Anyway, and when you came on, I always am amazed listening to the news shows because there's so many men on, right?
Yeah.
Now, back in the day, you had to listen to all of us women complaining about menopause, puberty, and all that kind of stuff, right? And you would politely get doctors on to explain all this stuff to us. So now we're smarter.
Well, good.
A lot older.
Yeah.
But we're really going to miss you, Rick.
Well, I appreciate that, Sandy. And you've been a loyal listener and a caller from time to time over the years, and for that, I thank you. And I just want to tell you, Sandy, and everyone who's been a participant on this show, who's called in to offer an opinion, how much I valued hearing what you had to say, how I love to hear I love the banter that we had each and every open hour. And I'm going to miss that. I really am. That's the one thing I think that out of all of what I've done here, I'll really miss, and that's the day-to-day, banter, exchange of ideas, even arguments I would have with the callers. And I think it served a purpose in that it allowed people who might not necessarily have a voice through other circles, gave them a voice, allowed them to speak their mind, allowed them to raise particular issues. That's why whenever a community group would have a particular issue, I would try to get them on the air because often, the other media wouldn't pay attention to what, they're trying to do. And I thought that all of the people needed a voice, and that's what we tried to provide here during open hours on this show.
Well, Rick, I'd like to thank you for all the talk we had when my son was in Afghanistan. That's like 15 years ago, Rick.
That's right, yeah.
And I remember when your granddaughter was born, I had 4 and 2 months earlier, and they're going to junior high.
Yeah, really, I know.
Oh, God. And I remember talking to you about your son and the tutors and all of that stuff back in the day, but we'll really miss you. And I just want to say, you have a good retirement.
Thank you, Sandy. Much appreciated. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you and everyone who has called in over the years. Thank you all. Appreciate that.
Okay.
All right.
Retire well.
I will. All the best. Take care. Let's go next here to Bob. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
This is Asparagus Bob, right?
You got me.
How are you doing, sir? Good to hear from you. It's been a while.
It's been a while. I had some medical problems, and I retired because of medical problems, or I'd be still working.
Yeah. Well, I'd say,
I believe you will, too. I believe your professionalism will extend on. Because you know so much, and you've done so much that we still need your rewards.
I appreciate that. And as I mentioned, my plan is to do more writing. I'm working on, again, my second book right now. And I hope to do some stories about the history of this great province of ours. We have a very rich history, and a lot of stories are just simply people don't know about some of what happened in our past. And so I hope to bring some of those stories to light, and that'll keep me occupied. Between that and my Canadian stamp collecting, that'll keep me occupied for a while.
Well, Rick, something, one thing that I always said, the history of Nova Scotia is the history of Canada. It was a footprint. And we need you to tell us what we're losing, because the young people today don't realize how important this province was and how important it was to Canada. And you've always put that out there. And congratulations on that. And as far as I'm concerned, we only had one time you had to apologize to me, and I said then and afterwards, after accepting it, sir, you'll always be a professional, and you'll always be my pro.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Bob, have a great day, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the best, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Let's get into Patricia before we take a break here. Hi, Patricia. Hello, Patricia.
Yeah.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Patricia, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Well, not too bad, but you sound pretty lively.
Well, thanks very much. I'm feeling better each and every day. I'm getting stronger. I'm gaining weight again. Starting to regain some of that health that I lost, and good to hear from you, Patricia.
Well, the last time I was talking to you on the radio was the 10th anniversary for that radio station, and when I said that date, you kind of got embarrassed. Well, Rick, you couldn't be embarrassed. You've helped so many people in this province out through poverty and action, and I know for a fact that you did the very best you could.
Well, listen.
And I'm proud of you, and I'm sorry that you go. We all walked through it. And I, for one, been praying for you, too. And, you know, whatever they do, always remember the guy upstairs loves you.
I appreciate that. And Patricia, take care of yourself, and thanks for the call, and thanks again for being a loyal listener from way back in those early days over at CJCH. You and a small number of people were our regulars, and for that, thank you very much for being a supporter of this radio show. Have a great day, Patricia. Take care. All right, we're going to break here. It's 2 minutes now before the top of the hour. We'll be back for the final hour. We got another hour to go, right, Todd?
We do, another hour,
okay.
yeah.
We'll be back for that final hour right after this break.